1970, we sure we did before fruit. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. We work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the UNIBEN Alumni Series. And on today's episode, we have a former student union leader, former president of the Student Union Government of the University of Benin, and he is an educator. He is Comrade Raymond Omorogbe. Thank you very much, Comrade, for joining us today.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you, brother. You have a Bachelor of Science degree in Animal, Environmental and Biology, AEB, from the University of Benin. And recently, the internet was agog when we saw your admission into the Faculty of Law, University of Benin. Okay, let me start with this question. Why did you go back to the institution? We have had several cases that people go back to study maybe another course in their line. What I mean, their line, maybe in the humanities, you go back to study. If you had post-science before, you go back to study law, or you had AEB before, you go back to study medicine. But yours, you are switching. You are switching fields. You are moving from the core sciences to the arts, to the humanities. So what inspired that, Mr. President?
Okay, thank you for that very question. The truth is, right from my secondary school days, I have always been a lover of the arts. I wanted arts all my life. But you know how as the whole thing goes, when your family sees that you did very well in virtually both sciences and the arts, you are the family doctor. You know that was what it told, and they insisted I do sciences. So even to add to it, I had to enroll both government, literature. Then the intention that in the nearest future I will do something in the arts. So I felt it was the right time for me to go into what I love to do. And so that was why I just delved into art and I started preparations. And by the grace of God, it has paid off so far. Yes.
Yeah, I can see that you're quite deliberate with yes, coming back to study law, because you just mentioned that you had some art courses during your O level. So you were planning for this no matter what. So
Absolutely.
I'll go back again and ask, what made you love law, love the arts? Then what was the factors, individuals or environments, that made you want to study law?
Okay, precisely. I hadn't law in my mind. As a matter of fact, I had apathy towards law. But the thing is, I always loved history. I love history. I'm a historian by nature. And in addition to that, I'm also a social catalyst. So I didn't see myself in the science discipline. I found it boring. I love to talk. I love to, express myself, find out the curiosity part of me. I'm a researcher. I love to find out new things. So I found myself, veering towards the art discipline, history, and the rest of this. So what I had in mind initially was history. But as time progressed, I realized that I can use one stone to kill two birds, So instead of limiting myself to just history, I know if I do law, it will give me professionalism, one, being that I love to help people. In fact, one of the core values of unionism in my SUG days was the reward for helping people is more help. More like the reward for labor is more labor. As they see that you solve the problem, they want you to solve more. So I felt one of the best ways I can be of help to humanity is to study law. And by virtue of that, I can express myself and be of help to as many persons as possible. So that was why I veered completely towards law. It was always history I had in mind, but the idea of using one to kill two birds came up, and I said, okay, fine, let me go all the way. Yes.
Okay. Okay. You sounded like someone who's quite deliberate with his actions, and now you are going into the faculty of law, not as a fresher, not just as an alumnus of the university, but as a former student union leader, as a former president of the student union government. What's your anticipation? What's your plan? Are you just going there to just read your books and get the best of grades and walk out of the institution? Or are you open-minded that, oh, your experience as a student union leader might be of use to your classmates or to the students around us at then who don't even know? Is there a possibility that you might be a president again? So what are the plans? What have you thought of? How do you see yourself in the classroom in the faculty of law going forward?
Yes, okay. Then to answer that question, my brother, the truth is, when I gained admission into law, I felt like I was reborn. I felt like I felt like I found my purpose. Like I felt so happy, like excited, like wow, I'm doing something. I felt like I just left secondary school, to be very honest with you. So there's this nostalgia that I feel right back now, going back to the classroom, precisely University of Benin. And there's only one limitation, which is I have my work, I have the things I do to put food on my table. Yeah. So by virtue of that, I told myself I will not go to school with the intention of excessive unionism and activism. However, I would like to play the role of an elder statesman to help the younger generation to do better than I did in my time. But if nature calls and duty calls as and when due, of course, we will champion courses that will be of help to student development and progress. But the core value is I want to study, I want to come out a good student, and then contribute my quota to the current ones that are in class to do better than we did in our time. No much ambition attached to it, to be very honest with you.
Okay. You mentioned the younger generation. I want to talk about your mentees, because as an educator, you have shaped a lot of young adults who are gotten admission into the university. Some might even be your classmates.
Yes. I have one who is currently going to be my classmate.
Okay. So how do you think that relationship is going to be in the classroom, in the same classroom with your mentee, with people that have looked up to you? Even if they are not in your class, they are not in the faculty of law, we might have some spread around the university. How is your relationship going to be with these persons?
Well, the truth is, right from the classroom where I teach them, I've always imbibed the culture of we are all students. So by virtue of that, there's really no disparity between me and my students. You can hardly tell. If you're not, if you don't look keenly, you would think I'm also a student in my own educational institutes. I relate very well with my students to the extent that they call me Daddy Ray. Like that's the name they know me for. Like there's this friendship we share. So coming to the institution, there is really no there's no that much of thin line that will exist between me and them. It will still be a thing of my pal, my guy. That's how I've always related with them. So I don't see much of disparity between me and them moving forward. Both those in class and those I'm gonna be coming across with in course of social endeavors and all of that. No, it's still gonna be the same thing. Like Daddy Raymond, in class and we relate, there'll be no disparity, Mr. Kaka. No, there'll be none. It's
Okay.
just
Okay. I've made mention severally that you are quite intentional with your actions. Once again, in that same line, is there a particular field or a particular aspect, area of law that you like to specialize?
absolutely, yes. I will, by the grace of God and with the help of men, I will specialize in criminal law. And that's because I've been a victim of criminal injustice. And by virtue of that, when I found myself in that quagmire, I saw other people who were in the same shoes. And when I asked them questions like, why are you here? The things I heard were things like, I have nobody to help me. I have no one to stand in for me. I have no one to help out. So it was one of the things that actually pushed me towards that law. Now that you're asking me deeper questions, so so I felt they were helpless, and by virtue of my name, Raymond, it means defender of his people, and people tend to move towards the idea is I want to major in criminal law.
Okay.
And I'm not going to law because I'm a hungry man. I'm going into it because it's something I will enjoy doing, seeing people get free, courtesy of my little contributions to helping them, get free if they are really innocent of whatever they've been accused of. So yes, I'm going to major in criminal law by the grace of God, and I want to be of help to humanity using that tool. Yes.
Okay. Let's rewind back as a student now, as a former student of UNIBEN. During your time in school, you became student union president in 2015, if I'm correct. Yes, you became student union president. That's not a small feat, especially for those that attended the institution. We all know how rigorous it is for campaigns, alignments and realignments, meeting stakeholders, both former academic, non-academic stakeholders, and all. How were you able to do all these and emerge as the Student Union Government President?
Wow, that's a very huge question, and that could actually write a big book, I would say. But just to be summarizing, the dream of becoming a union leader was not there from 100 level. I always loved to lead. I was born to lead. From primary school, I was a class monitor, secondary school class prefect, senior secondary school senior prefect, 100 level class rep, 200 level class rep, and all of that. So I've always found myself in leadership positions. However, the idea to become a union president was born out of curiosity as to how can I just come into University of Benin without making a lasting impact and walk away. So when the idea came in, it was actually thrown out in all ramification. The stakeholders told me, you are from a department that is not politically inclined, AEB. They told me, in fact, in the history of AEB, none has ever become a secretary general in Faculty of Life Science, let alone SUG. So I told my classmates as a class rep, I said, we are game changers. Let's change the narrative. There should be a paradigm shift from where we met the school, the department, to where we should take it to. So it was a daring, move. So that time, I think I read a book by Barack Obama, The Audacity of Hope. So I told myself, I want to dare, to change the narrative. And it came with a lot of, what's it called, challenges from the stakeholders of my department, even my HOD. He told me, he said, they sent to school to come and study, and not to come and be doing politics. Okay, I'm not supposed to sign this your form, but because you have been a dutiful student, I will sign it. So he signed, it came with a lot of debacles. It got a time that life science was so proliferated with candidates that every department almost had a candidate in my time. So they had to do primaries. Primaries were done, and I lost. Mr. Kaka, I lost primaries. And then I felt offended by the fact that I felt I was cheated on in the course of the election. So I told myself, let University of Benin students determine who will become their president, not some few stakeholders in life sciences. So that was when I went ahead. I went to the SUG block, June 12, bought my form. When I got to the dean's office, they said, I will not sign your form. I said, why? Say you are not the candidate. You are not the chosen candidate. You are not the flag bearer of life science. So you cannot proceed. I said, well, okay, I will hold my peace, but I have faith because I was convinced I was going to become the president. So I waited, and then before I knew, there was a circular from Student Affairs. Then the Dean of Students, Professor Francis Sagede, who sent a circular that everybody that bought form should be allowed to submit their form. Wow, a miracle has come. So I went to the dean's office. He was reluctant, but he signed anyhow. All right. So I found myself in Student Affairs, and eventually, the story continued until the elections were held. If you give me time, I can take up to 5 hours narrating to you the challenges I went through becoming union president. But it was not an easy feat, I must tell you. A lot of stakeholders, them, Right Honorable Salami, Mazimus Ibn Abume, all of them really teamed up. The guy we had as governor then, the governor of life science, I forgot his name now, tall, handsome guy. They were all really very much, there to help me, galvanize support from different faculties, alignments. We didn't sleep. I took ill after the elections. I won't lie.
How did you feel when, I know before the announcement of the result, official announcement, you have your agents in the field, and you must have compiled the result from different faculties, different polling units. How did you feel when you saw that you're actually going to win? What was it? Where were you?
Yeah, when the results were trickling in, I was not in UNIBEN. Like I said, I took ill. I was so ill that when they saw the result was going in my favor, some elders in the faculty called me and said, leave school. You are not safe to be in school right now because some people are not happy that you are leading. So I went to my mother's house in Upper, actually. So it was from there, I got the information. But before the results fully came out, they were calling the results from the smallest office to the highest office. And somebody called me and said, Mr. President in the embryo, I want you to hear the result live, as they call it. So it was a normal phone conversation. And then they put the phone close to the dean of students when I was calling results. I was in my mother's house. My mother didn't understand what SUG was. My mother was just there, just listening to me. And he called my opponent, Jonathan Semota from Agric, called his own at 1,900 and something, not something votes. And when I had 2, I told myself, it can't be 200. It has to be 1,000 and something. And behold, it was, positive. And in fact, I was shaking. I was practically shaking, like, wow, it's real. Like, wow. And I told my mom I just won the election. She was just dancing. She didn't know what it was, but she was just happy that
she was happy for your success. Yeah.
Yeah, that was how it was for me. It was a moment in my life that it felt good to win, actually. Yeah.
Yes, and I wanted to ask regarding your life, how did that result, that position, how did it affect your life? Positively, at times it comes with some negative vibes, I know. So I want you to speak to it. How did it affect your life?
That's a really moment of introspection, if I'm going to say at all. It affected my entire life. When I was leaving my house, for 100 level, I told my mom, I left my house with a backpack, just a backpack. And I told my mom, we don't have anything, but I'm leaving with a backpack, but I am coming back a bigger person and a better person. And so when I won that election, it changed everything. First of all, I was now living in a full room in Hall 3 called SUG room, President's room. I felt like a big man at a point, I won't lie. I was given an office with air conditioner. Then there was a car, an official car. I didn't know how to drive. All the driving I have done in my life was in my dream, Mr. Kaka. I did not. So when I was given the car, I was desperate to learn how to drive. I learned the little I knew. It was an automatic vehicle. So it's changed everything. it changed. I had contacts. I was now having meetings. My leader, the Supremo, Comrade Western Wagame Yamu, had meetings with me. Before I knew, I was in government house. Before I knew, I was now going to visit his lodge as though it was my backyard. Like everything about my life changed from SUG days because it's made me, make contacts, friends, as in the UNIBEN community. Before they came in on board, I now knew people. I met with Lamido Sanusi Lamido, the former CBN governor. It took me round, and I started seeing life in a different perspective. Like I saw myself as, you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity that you can become anything you want to become as long as you dare to dream it. It was more like the American dream for once in my life. I felt like the American dream, like the son of a nobody can become somebody anywhere, anytime. So from that day to today, even when I was in the NYC camp, I still met people that were like, I was hiding myself. All I heard was, do you know who is talking to you? The guy was talking to someone else. That is the immediate past. UNIBEN, SUG President. Jeez, camp was, wild and all of that. So it's changed my life in so many ways. Even people that didn't respect me before, who I worked with, started according me respect because they felt, okay, he has climbed the social ladder. So it's changing.
Okay, let's talk about the second leg of the question, because oftentimes we hear that when someone attains a certain level, there's a distance. There's this obvious distance between him and his maybe contemporaries or friends that he had before, and there are some things you liked to do before, and maybe because of your new portfolio, your new responsibility, you are not able to do such. Did you have such situations?
Absolutely. There will be changes. There were few changes, but one of the things that I can't do without is education, teaching. If you take me off the board, you've taken maybe half of my life out. Even if you give me an NNPC job today, you have to put a marker in my hand. So when I became the union president, I was going to class every morning, 8 to 9, to teach my regular class at Gorilla Brains then. I didn't stop teaching because I love to teach. I love to impart. I was even asked that question when I was being interviewed by the ELECO. They said, we heard you're a teacher. Why politics? Are you telling us that politics is more lucrative than teaching now? You want to veer? I told them that impartation is beyond the four walls of the classroom. As a UNIBEN president, I will be able to impart more. So even as a union leader, I was still going to class to teach. That was one of the things I could not do without. My friends that stood by me, Joshua Agbomobe, Valentine Bojako, who was my classmate, and many of them, we remained friends. In fact, many of them do visit me in my office. I'll tell them, okay, go to Blessed, go and get food for them. So we had a good time. The only thing I could say was my studies. Yeah, my studies suffered a little because I was always called upon whenever there was tension. There was a time I heard there was a boy they were almost going to, mob at a faculty because he was trying to abuse a girl. That was around 1 a.m. I was called upon and I drove my Luther van. If I was going to rescue the boy, because I had to take him in and take him to, crime office for him to be, attended to by the judicial way, as it were, or the legal way. So that was for that. And there were times my life was really not following the regular things. I could no longer just go to places I love to go to because, the paparazzi thing was really there. I was still going to my church. However, I couldn't go alone anymore. My ADC was always following me. Salam was always there with me. And then Omola Daniel was always there with me. So wherever I went, even when I went to visit my family, they were with me. So I lacked that freedom as I did have before I was union leader. Yes, those were the few things.
It's part of the office. It's part of the responsibilities. Yeah. While you were talking about how the position, how the student union presidency changed your life. You made some comments about you having contacts, having access to different places, meetings. Those are some takeaways from the presidency. Now, I want to ask, when it comes to UNIBEN generally, what are the takeaways you took from the institution? I know you are going back there, so there might be more. But let's talk about the first leg that you were there. What are the takeaways you took from that great institution?
One of my greatest joy is the fact that I had an opportunity to do something that will outlive me while I was a student, while I was union leader. You see, there's a man I respect so much. A lot of people may not say good things about him, but Professor F.F. Orumense, he was a father. He's still a father. You see, by virtue of becoming a union leader and schooling in University of Benin, he was the VC in my time, and he being an engineer. The minute I won my election and I approached him, I said, "Sir, I have a project, the Hotu Relaxation Center and Garden. I want to do something. I'm an Edo man. I'm a Benin man to a fault. I'm very, very traditional as well." I said, in due course, in the nearest future, I'll be asked questions. When you were there, what were you able to achieve as a union leader? So I told the VC, I said, "Sir, this is my project and it needs to be approved." So by virtue of being a University of Benin student and going through that institution and running through SUG, I was able to build a lasting legacy. We have that project built and completed. By virtue of also relating with Izeyamu, then we built 4 bus stops in University of Benin that are still standing to today. So UNIBEN gave me an opportunity to show that as a politician at the student level, not in the microscopic, not in the mega atmosphere, I could be sincere to my word and build a project that students felt the impact and are still feeling the impact even after my time. It gave me an opportunity to express the inner part of me, that there are still politicians that can be sincere and say, if you give me this opportunity, I will do X, Y, Z. And then they did it, or he did it in my own case. So he even gave me a platform to express who I really am on the inside, a problem solver. And I was able to solve it. So that was a takeaway I got from University of Benin. 1. Number 2, UNIBEN gave me boldness. I was privileged to travel to the UK. When I go to the UK, I met a woman in the bus. A girl in the bus. I met other people. I met a girl on the bus. And she asked me a question. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Nigeria." She said, "I heard that where you come from, Nigeria, they are very corrupt." I told her something. I said, "That is your judgment of corruption. However, I put it to you that you people are responsible for whatever level of corruption you think we have attained." She said, "How?" I said, Benin City, for example, was a thriving economy and a thriving nation until your forefathers came and interrupted a smooth system. In fact, the lampstands, the street light people had at the streets of Lisbon as of that time was a copycat from our own in Benin Kingdom. Even at our primitive level, we already have street lights in Benin. I told her, I said, you people came and broke a system that was working and introduced. So the bottom of what I'm trying to say is that I couldn't have expressed such boldness and confidence to express myself if I had not gone through the 4 walls of the University of Benin. So University of Benin gave me confidence. Until tomorrow, anytime, any day. Even if like call me before Donald Trump, the only thing I know I will feel is that I will feel, okay, he's the president of the, in fact, he's the leader of the free world. So I will feel I'm in the presence of the leader of the free world. But if you give me a chance to express myself, he will know that I'm from University of Benin. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Thank you. Before we proceed to the last question, I just want to subscribe to what you said about Professor Friday Orensi. He might not be a perfect leader. We actually do not have perfect leader anyway, but he's a wonderful human, a wonderful man. I got employed into the institution during his reign. I worked with him close hand. Wonderful man, wonderful. Last question. Let's talk about what you do as an educator. You nurture young people, teenagers, young adults. You try to shape their future in terms of education. What are the challenging factors? Because today we have, at times, I do worry for them because there are a lot of distraction. There are a lot of distraction. The social media is in their faces, the Gen Z vibe and all. So how are you able to manage these issues? At times, I do not, like I said, I do not blame them because it is in their faces, and it is just some are able to manage all this and still concentrate on their education. So are you able to manage them? You see them year in, year out. You prepare them for O levels to get into the university. Even those in the universities, you also nurture them. So what are the challenges you face with this crop of young people?
Well, the challenges are enormous. First of all, most of these kids, after their secondary schools, and maybe they try to write exams and did not do well, they bring them to us, and the onus is on us to prove to their parents that we are good at what we do. So, in line with that, we are constrained to go into their lives, probe into them, create moments, create atmosphere for friendliness first. Establish this rapport. If there is camaraderie between you and your students, your children per se, they now open up to be sincere. Many of them open up to tell you, sir, this is my challenge. So when they tell you their challenge, you are able to, using the prognosis, to work on whatever is the solution. So the challenges we face with these children, like you said, social media is a core constraint. But in my center, what I do is I have a counseling section with all of them. So we have a counseling class, I mean general counseling class. We talk to them. We make them understand that you can be, even if you want to be a bad boy, you can be a bad boy with brains. Even if you want to be the most beautiful girl, you want to be a pageantry kind of girl, and you can also be a beauty with brains. So we are not a church, we are not a mosque, we are an academic environment or institution saddled with the responsibility of helping them actualize their dreams. So we don't judge. I don't tell them, oh, you did this, oh, you did that. No, I tell you, bring your issues. Let's analyze them and provide solutions. So we counsel them, we give them, we rate them based on their performances in tests. So when we see their weaknesses, we now help them. Tell them that this is where your weaknesses are coming from, this is where your issues are coming from. And can you tell us why? I want to give you an example, Mr. Kaka. I was teaching one morning, and a girl was so sad in my class. She was so down. You get? Yeah. I know. So after class, I called her out. I asked her, what is your problem? She said, she didn't say what. All I saw was tears. Tears gushing from my eyes. I'm like, what's your problem? She said, my father doesn't believe in me. My father said, I cannot amount to anything good. Parents still say that tomorrow, Mr. Kaka. They still do. I said, what? She said, yes. And now she's having that low self-esteem that she cannot achieve anything. I only got that one thing. I said, your father genetically has contributed his quota to your life by bringing you forth. Thank God they paid your bills in school. I said, the rest are in your hands. Nobody has the right to determine what your future will look like. It is God and you. Apart from that, you are all you've got. This girl wrote that exam, wrote for CTME. I speak the truth and I lie not. She gained admission to the University of Benin Law Department. because we're able to lift her out of that disbelief, out of that myth that whatever my father says, because he's my father, his words will work against me. So these are challenges we face: parental delinquencies, juvenile delinquencies, social media influence, name them. But what we do is that as soon as they come in, we welcome them, we go into their life, probe into their life. For those who are serious, they come to us, express themselves, and then we hit it. And we're able to get a lot of them being transformed, being nurtured, and they get exactly what they seek. I'm going to share with you soon as all the admissions that we experience this section. You will see they are very prime courses. Most of them were first batches because some of them never even believed they could achieve it. But because we were able to lift them out of their downtrodden condition and made them believe that you can do it, many of them are actually doing it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Raymond. It has been wonderful speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Been a privilege.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Comrade Raymond Omorogbe. He's an educator and former student union president of the University of Benin. And in the next 4 to 5 years, there is an addition to his name, barrister. It will be because he just gained admission to go back to the University of Benin to study law. We wish him all the best. Continue to subscribe to our channel, bringing more exclusive interviews of UNIBEN alumni. Bye.
1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law.